and gentlemen, welcome back to Competitive Speed Series. It's yet another round of racing.
What's going to happen in turn 1?
4, 5 red lights here in Shanghai.
They will need an even bigger miracle.
This is completely flipped on its head.
Now the gloves have come off.
You will not believe your eyes.
Oh, into the wall! For the first time, EVE have won a race.
They have beaten the unbeatable team title for TF10. They are back on top.
Hello, good evening and a warm welcome to you. Welcome back to Competitive Speed Series. My name is Frostbreath and I'll be your commentator once again for tonight. We've arrived at the final 3 rounds of the season, and man, do I have some news to share with you about the top 2 teams tonight, because it's going to be interesting to say the very least here what's going to happen in Canada. As you can see on the calendar showing up your screen right now, round number 10, and only Great Britain and Australia remain after this one. And the standings, well, the gap keeps coming down with VNT still in the lead and FRT closing the gap to 47 points. After taking another win last week, with Sixten Lindhard taking 2 victories in a row in the last 2 races. So far so good then for them. However, some things have changed because FRT failed to find a second driver for tonight. And that, of course, is a major issue for the team chasing the championship leaders. This might be the death blow for the championship hopes for the team, as VNT might be able to pull out an unovertakeable, so to say, lead against FRT. They have got 2 drivers in and FRT only have 1. So that is interesting, and Rev is actually the sole driver for the team. He's going to have to pull all of his skills to the track to make sure the team gets the best result possible. Last week, of course, both teams had 1 retirement, meaning for both teams 1 driver finished the race, and for FRT that was in first position, and for VNT it simply wasn't. They both have 4 wins right now, both teams. However, VNT have 5 more podiums than FRT, 12 over 7. And therefore, they, of course, still have the advantage. 47 points, as I said. ET8 have climbed into P4 in the standings. They are not far behind TF10 anymore, and they can still fight for that 3rd position. TF10, well, they are now so far behind the championship leaders that they are pretty much out of contention unless some miracles happen. The gap is now nearly 200 points, and I think that is that cannot be overcome anymore. So they are, well, they're still the reigning champions because we haven't crowned a new one yet. But to extend that championship and the crown is no longer going to be possible. So then, we're heading to the track as we speak. 18 drivers in, and not only FRT are 1 driver down, but I saw that in the last moment, IRT also lost their 2nd driver. It seems that Nicolin was unable to make it. The reserve driver was unavailable as well. And they apologize for the inconvenience. But the only one they inconvenience is themselves. Same goes for FRT. It always surprised me that with 10 drivers on your roster, only 1 able to make it. Oh well. What can you do? Nothing I can do anyway. We also have a new team to the roster. AZR has joined instead of EVR. They've taken place in the Haas car with Filip Navlovsky and Baptiste Vanquali. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Taking place on their first outing. Now, of course, they aren't the first team to join mid-season. ONB did so in the 3rd race, and they took a podium immediately. So let's see if AZR can repeat that feat here in Canada. I like it. I like this track, personally. It's very heavy on track limits. It's also the first time I'm spectating this track in this game. So for me, it's a little bit of an unknown. And, I haven't seen it in many other leagues either. So let's see what these drivers can do. Nando Moreira, never mind. It's Claudio Diaz, sorry. For AMR, first out on track, followed by his teammate Paul Villegas. The first of the 2 Williams currently first and second on the track, followed by either Florian Vanzelter or Car Vergezen. It is actually Florian Vanzelter, and then an RB right behind. Joel Lindstrom, Patrick Dagmeier for ET8. VNT have brought in Lucas Shea and Nando Moreira. IRT only have Redmerds, as FRT only have got Rev. OMB have brought in Mario Amoroso and Anton Chebotarov. TF10 have brought in Eve Gabadi and Mark Schluter. Eve, of course, having taken the one and only win for TF10 this season so far. It's really busy out here on track. Very few drivers take the time to leave a gap. They're all in a hurry, so that might mean that rain is on the horizon. And we might have another very short qualifying session coming up. It's incredibly busy already, and it's already raining indeed. The rain has come once again, really early. And once again, we'll see a very short qualifying session indeed. And Claudio Diaz has already invalidated his potential one and only attempt. So Paul Villegas is up next. Is he going fast? He is, and perhaps he can ask his teammate for a tow. But I think Claudio wants to try for another attempt real quick, because it's now or never, literally, for all of these drivers. Only Redmerds is not yet on a hot lap. He's come out quite late, and perhaps too late, as the rain is already coming down within the first 3 minutes. Let's just hope that it will stay dry long enough for them to set a proper lap time. Both Williams cars ahead of Florian Vanzelter. Nobody is left to get to one another, so the hope is there, of course, that differences are small. Florian much faster than Paul Villegas. Joel Lindstrom in P2 for now. I feel like the later they finish, the slower they'll be. Except for a few. Lucas Shea, P2. Big Shoots in P3, aka Jordan Mopti. And Benjamin Letteneur once again for F1AF. With Benjamin in P10, Mark Schluter P9. Everybody's now finishing their hot laps. We're watching the final few, including Mario Amoroso, only at 13.1. Let's see if Anton can improve on that one. As he goes across the line now, it is only at 13.6, and I feel like it's over pretty much. Unless Ave Gabadi has got something to say about it. He's currently on a flyer, as DRS at least was open, and it's still enabled. We've got a yellow flag, and that's an invalidation for Ave Gabadi. Oof, that's a tough one then to swallow. Redmerds, of course, started late, and he's not going to be anywhere close to the top. In fact, he's much slower than everybody else. Can only manage P16 with a 14.7. So I think it's safe to say that this might be the shortest qualifying of all time here in CSS. Claudio Diaz pulling out an attempt, just barely faster than Redmerds. And I think the track has now become too greasy to do anything. Everybody therefore returns to the pit boxes en masse. As you can see on the mini-map, it's absolute havoc in the pit lane. Florian Vanzelter said he had no practice and he's on pole position. But I think today that pole came out of the fact that it wasn't due to pure pace, but instead it simply was due to being one of the first out there. And confirmation by one of the drivers in the Discord that it is not going to dry up. And we'll go really quickly to the race. Redmerds is having an absolute blast out there. Drifting left, right and center. DRS now disabled, and now it's simply too wet. And there's even a question of restarting qualification. I seriously doubt that. This is simply the circumstances. You're playing a sim game. You'll have to expect simulated circumstances. Alright. So this is what it is then. VNT have still pulled off a big result with Lucas Shea and Nando Moreira in second and third. Their nearest rival is Rev, and only Rev. He's all the way down in P9, which is not too bad either. But he's alone. He's got no backup. He's got no teammate to work together with. And VNT are together, and they can control it if they want to. They've only got Florian Vanzelter ahead of them. And it remains to be seen whether he's up to the pace of Lucas and Nando. So far, VNT have simply been on top of it all season. As Mario becomes the first retirement in the pit lane. For some reason, Ave has decided to go out still. He wants to set a lap time or get some practice done on his intermediate tires. That could perhaps indicate a intermediate conditioned race. I'm not sure. Also, hi Tristan and Wards, welcome to the stream. Let's see, more drivers coming out now. Both of the ETA drivers actually leaving the pit lane. Joel Lindstrom, Patrick Dekmaier, P5, P7 have decided to go out as well. And it looks like they want to get him some practice. And I'm hoping that in the Discord somebody can give me some confirmation, or perhaps in the chat, whether rain is going to be inbound or not in the race. Because that does explain these drivers coming out. More drivers coming out still. Redmerd's one of the AZR drivers. And already some disagreements in the Discord on whether this is a good idea or not. Well, let's have a little look with Ave, who's simply gliding through the corners right now. And somebody else saying, I'm going to practice. This Karel Vergezen, the second TRT driver, in P11 at the moment. He wants to go out there as well. And I feel like, well, I mean, you've got 10 minutes remaining. Why not? Mario Amoroso has retired. He might regret it now. He's not too happy with the fact that several drivers carry on. Nonetheless, Ave Gabadi almost stalling the engine in second gear, going through the hairpin. That's how quickly the conditions have deteriorated. Hitting the grass here and there. More drivers coming out now. Joel Lindstrom has just started his hot lap ahead of both TRT drivers, although it really isn't a hot lap anymore. This is free practice. That's kind of what we're watching right now. Free practice for these 18 drivers. And, well, perhaps FRT could still bring in a second one. I can see 2 of them playing this game. Probably doing another league or whatever. That's the good thing about Discord. I can see what they're doing. Oh well. Like I said, this could be the death blow for FRT's championship hopes. They've only got Rev, and so far Rev hasn't been a podium contender. Sixton has been their golden boy so far. He's won 2 races in a row, both in Austria and in Imola. And from Austria's result, that was especially impressive, as he came from a qualification ban, all the way from the back of the grid to still win the race. Of course, that is an impressive effort. So, perhaps we can place some bets on who's going to crash in qualifying due to these conditions. I can see Joel Lindstrom doing some drifting, going slow. Completely off the track now to let some drivers past. And carries on drifting. Not entirely sure why this is happening. This is definitely not practice. As you can see, it's become quite dark as well. Still impressive though, look at this. We're seeing some proper F1 car drifting, Fernando Alonso style. But now the tires might have overheated completely. Joel is backed out of it. Completely, in fact. Benjamin Letaneur for F1AF. They have qualified 12th and 4th. Of course, Jordan Opti having done a great lap. And I think that's a season best result for the team. Is the goat Sabuka in here? Well, unless that's a nickname of one of these drivers, I'm afraid not. Our pole sitter now has retired in the pit box. We're just waiting for the rest to do the same. 7 minutes remain in this practice session. Ricochet is drifting there through turns 6 and 7. Well, just crashing out your car in these conditions isn't a good show, I'd say. Florian Pole, indeed. And I can tell you, if these conditions suited him perfectly. It was one of the first cars out on track. It started to rain 30 seconds into qualifying. Alright, thank you for clarifying that, Ace. And apologies for me not knowing that. Ricochet through the chicane. Across the line. Intermediate lap time, 20.2. Got no idea whether that's going to be fast or not. Looks like, yeah. At least half the grid have made this qualifying session into a practice session for potentially a wet race. Otherwise, if it was going to be a dry race, then they wouldn't have bothered. Then everybody would have retired for sure. Yet they carry on still. Especially this man for another lap at least. 23.7. Patrick Degmeyer on his way still. 49.9 through sector 2 as he goes through the hairpin right here. Barely fits second gear there, to be honest. With 5 minutes remaining, it indeed is not going to dry up anymore. And in he comes, Patrick Degmeyer to the box. Ricochet now without a front wing. I think he's had enough of practice. And in he goes. Only man remaining is Jordan Mopti. And his teammate is coming back out again. Looks like F1 AF are making the most of this session. Same goes for Rev, and I think it's a wise decision for Rev to do this. He will be alone in the race, and if this is going to be the conditions you can expect, then it might be a wise plan to do some extra laps of practice. Carl Vergezen is very close on him for some reason. That's dangerous and potentially risky. To do this on an outlap. Oh my goodness me. Carl, what are you doing? Not sure what the plan is of the Alpine there. You don't want a Baku repeat, to be honest. Doesn't look well on you. This car has decided to tailgate Rev. Very closely, in fact. He's simulating a little bit of a race pace here. Nando Moreira back out as well. Joel Lindstrom, same thing. And Rev has decided he doesn't want him as company. Carl gets by. And off he goes. Now this is interesting. Let's compare lap times between these two, actually, to get a good idea of their potential race pace in these conditions. Carl Vergezen just ahead of Rev, and Rev potentially trying to follow him. Going through turns 3 and 4. Drifting quite hard there. A beautiful showcase of path racing there for a second. 24.0 for Carl there. Can't see Rev sector time, unfortunately. I'm sure I swapped over in time, but oh well. We'll see in a moment then what sector 2 is going to be for these two drivers. I feel like Rev is slightly gaining on the Alpine now. Carl, 49.8. And once again, no time for Rev. More drivers now retiring. Ricochet doing the same thing. People now saying, why are they practicing now? They've practiced the whole week. Well, usually, I'm not sure how often they practice for wet drives. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Some drama then in the pit entry. Carl nearly getting assaulted there by Rev. Some payback, perhaps. Max Schluter and Ave Gabadi still out there. Ave has decided to set a lap time on those inters, 19.0. He will still start last. And they're practicing some towing, some teamwork there as well. There's some nice tow there from Mark Schluter to Ave Gabadi. And apart from them, only Nando Moreira remains out on track as well. And with 1 minute remaining, these two will take the checkered flag once they go across the line again. Nando Moreira is going across right now. 25.0. It's been getting progressively slower, the track, that's for sure. We saw 18s and 19s about 6 minutes ago. Now it's 1 minute 25, or perhaps Nando didn't push. But it's nearly full wet conditions, I'd say. "30 seconds remain. These two will finish their laps, and then we'll go to the race. Same goes for Nando Moreira. He needs to finish his lap as well. Yeah, there's barely any racing lane now. Just a few tire tracks, that's all. You can see there through the chicane, not easy. They keep it safe. Ave Gabadi takes the checkered flag. Same goes for Mark Schluter. And all we need to wait for now is this man, Nando Moreira, starting on 3rd position on the grid today. Just ahead of Jordan Mopti for F1AF. Their best result of the season, as far as I can remember. And Nando has decided to not finish his lap and goes back in the pit lane. If he retires now, we won't have to wait another minute. He's also broken his front wing. Looks like we'll have to wait the entire pit entry cinematic from Nando Moreira as he gets reversed into the garage. And as soon as his screen is down, qualifying will be over. There we are. And that is your qualifying results, ever set in stone since 15 or so minutes ago. Florian Van Zelter on pole position, 3/10 clear from Lucas Shea, and then the Moreira 3/10 behind his teammate. Jordan Mopti P4, Joel Lindström, Paul Vegas, Patrick Deckmeyer, Filip Navlovsky. Great debut there for AZR in P8. Strong result, I'd say. Rev in 9th, Mark Schluter P10, then Carl Vergezen, Benjamin Letourneur, Maya Amoroso, Baptiste Van Quali, Anton Chepotarov, Claude Diaz, Redmerds, and Ave Gabadi not able to set a proper lap time in the dry conditions. Redmerds coming out too late, and that has cost them dearly. All right, interesting qualification / practice session. And now, and there we are, it is indeed very wet conditions. Very, very wet indeed. I wouldn't be surprised if we will see the full wet tires, but I can see a lot of intermediates sitting in the garage. Of course, starting on the full wets means that by the time the track gets dry enough, you'll have to make an extra pit stop to swap to the inters. So it might be worth it to just start on the inter straight away. And it looks like, as far as I can see, everybody's in agreement on that one. So there's that. There's that. A wet race coming up. Tricky conditions. We've seen it already. Both Ferraris have received damage in these conditions. Perhaps that gives Rev some hope. But it was only practice / qualifying. Florian Van Zelter on pole ahead of both VNT cars, of course. TRT is not a threat to them whatsoever. But they still want a 1-2. If they do that and Rev finishes where he's about to start, P9 or something around that position, it will gain them so much more points on their rivals in an effort. He will have a real tough job gaining the title in the remaining 2 races. I think if they get a 1-2 VNT tonight, they will nearly have it in the bag. That's a lot of points, remember. That's 65 points from 1st and 2nd position alone. Pole position and fastest lap, of course, nets you an additional 3 points in total. I believe it's 2 for pole position, 1 for the fastest lap. The pole position points go to Florian Vanzelter, of course. The fastest lap is yet to be determined. Perhaps Rev could try something with that if he notices he can't finish anywhere higher or lower than he already is. Never hurts to get an additional point. Could be a crucial one. But still, though, there's 35 laps to come. Anything can still happen. Last week we saw VNT retiring 1 car and FRT doing the same thing, making them both vulnerable to each other, and Sixten took it for FRT. Just waiting for the drivers to ready up now. Already, let's see. People are disappointed with the rain. What is this weather? Florian says. I mean, you could have seen it coming, couldn't you? On your beautiful screens in the garage. Rain and some sun, says Joel. That's the best prediction we're gonna get. Rain and some sun. So perhaps dry conditions towards the end of it. We'll have to take his word for that. I've got no other words to prove otherwise. So, rain and some sun it is. Rain for now, sun later. Looks like people are just waiting for each other to ready up. And all we can do is wait. We can't see a countdown timer. We will not have a formation lap. That's not a thing anymore, apparently, in a sim racing game. So there's that. Wonder what setup they'll choose. If it is indeed some sun, perhaps they'll pick a dry setup and hope the sun comes out early. And then I'll have the benefit later in the race. Otherwise, take the wet setup, have the benefit on the wet conditions, and potentially suffer by the end of it. I'm not sure what's the wisest choice. Go for the setup that deals with the conditions at the end of the race, or go for the setup that deals with the conditions at the start of it. Of course, really depending on how quick conditions will change, when it will become dry, all of those things. I think we're about to get going. Carl asked, what time do we go? A said, how about now? So perhaps the countdown has finally started. I am definitely ready to go. Hope you guys are as well. Usually we would have had a poll up in the chat. Of course, that didn't work. Wasn't necessary at all. They are really taking their sweet time, aren't they? Looks like a lot of setup tweaking is happening then. Actually, they're waiting for Ace to give the ready up, but that normally never really happens. I've never seen drivers waiting for the owner or any director to say go for the race. And Ace just confirmed that in the chat. They're just waiting for some confirmation, but they don't have to. And in case they're listening to the stream, just go. Yeah, there we go. Thank you very much. One light is broken. There you go. 4 or 5 lights now have come on, and the race is officially underway. With intermediate conditions, Florian Vanzelter starting from pole position already. Lucas Shea wanted to have a go around the outside, can't make it work. Ooh, Joel Lynch with a big dive on the inside of Jordan Mopti. Now he has to go around the outside to take 4th position from the Aston Martin. At the same time, it's Paul Villegas trying to take the position from the RB, but there's another RB behind him of Patrick Dagmeyers. Mark Schluter and Filip Nadlovsky are fighting for 8th and 9th place. Mark Schluter trying to get past. This man knows his way around in the wet conditions, so let's see how well he will do tonight, as he is already up, well, tried to get up for 1 position. Now in P9, Rev is now down to 10th place. It's not going to plan so far then for FRT, with their sole driver barely hanging on to the top 10. Filip Navlovsky, though, appears to like these conditions, has overtaken another car. Now Patrick Dagmeyer has been left behind, but it looks like Navlovsky might have a slightly worse exit than the RB. Perhaps a dive coming into the hairpin in these tricky conditions. You saw there at the front of the field, and Lucas Shea nearly going for a move against against Florian Vanzelter. And Mark Schluter now fighting with Rev for 10th place, 9th place. The car is going 3 wide everywhere. The camera refuses to swap for some reason. There we go. Thank you very much. Florian Vanzelter saw there Lucas Shea having a look on the inside, but he never had any problems there, any threat at all. Got a bit wide though through the chicane, and that has allowed Lucas Shea to get a good run on him into turn 1 perhaps. Not yet close enough. Florian just drifts through the corner. Lucas Shea tries to go around the outside. No place just yet. Eve Gabadi from last place, already up to 12. Now trying to get past Karel Vergezen. But round the outside in turn 2 is very tricky to say the least. Unless he gets a great exit. And now it's going to be even tricky. He has to slot in behind for now. Back down to 13th. And Rev is already being hit with a time penalty for track limits. Whoa, Eve Gabadi nearly goes into the wall, trying to get past Karel. Another late break there from him, and Rev gets down to 11th. FRT is getting more and more into deep trouble for the championship. 3 seconds to Rev's name means he will not even finish in the points as it stands. And he's on a serious threat from behind as well. Eve Gabadi has to cut the corner there as he's still fighting Karel Vergezen for position. And Florian Vanzelter now properly under attack from Lucas Shea, who still can't find his way past. Florian is defending well, but it looks like Shea's got the upper hand in pace. Now Florian will have to defend the inside, as the Ferrari will have to force his way around the outside. And it's like he's driving around with DRS almost. But Florian will still have the inside light going into the chicane. Bumping wheels! Nearly went terribly wrong there, and now it's the VNT cars going side by side. Lucas and Nando swap positions. Now it's Nando's turn to try as he gets the fastest lap of the race. He'll be the next driver to put Florian under pressure, and of course they can simply swap positions and have a try at the race leader one by one. And Florian has to do it all by himself every single lap. He'll be under threat from potentially a different VNT driver. This fighting, of course, does allow the drivers behind to stay within range. Including this man. You could perhaps get a dream result for the team they need so badly. These are the position changes so far. Claudio Diaz from 16th already up to P10. Doing a good job for AMR. Same goes for Paul Viegas. He's in the top 5. Joel Lindström about half a second behind. The gaps are starting to stabilize. Of course, no DRS and the dirty air playing a big factor in this game will make overtaking very tricky, to say the least. Mopti's teammate Benjamin is not having a great day. He's at the back of the field together with both ONB drivers, Anton and Mario. They are not going well at the moment, and Redmerds and the rest of the field is starting to drive away from them. Mario overtaking Anton. Now trying to give chase. And the Moreira now with the fastest lap of the race, Filip Navlovsky. Wow, look at that AZR. They are on for a strong race potentially. Let's see if they can follow in OMB's footsteps and take a podium on their debut. So far though, P7 is not too bad either, considering they were second reserve. So P12 on qualifying night. Ethan definitely cheering on his team there. AZR win, everyone DNF. Well, so far it's safe to say that Philip is doing a great job. He's staying within half a second of Joel Lindström, who is about to lose connection to the top 5. He nearly there for the moment, was out of 1 second range. Of course, it doesn't really matter too much now without DRS. And Slipstream not being that powerful. And look at this. Jordan Mopti is out of the 1 second range of the top 3. And that means Paul Viegas might find an opportunity sooner or later. Claudio Diaz making up another place. Now up to 9th, past Mark Schluter. But the fighting has cost them some time. They are now 1.1 second away from Patrick Dagmeyer in 8th. Some gaps are stretching, some are remaining stable. And Nando is trying to force Florian into a mistake, that's for sure. He's keeping behind patiently. They now know that Florian will defend hard to keep the lead. He wants that win for this team. So far as I can remember, all except 2 victories have been claimed by either VNT or FRT? They've got 8 shared victories. TF10 got one another, and then it is... Trying to remember who got the other victory. But I can't for some reason. Ooh, Nella Moreira. Ah, missed the corner completely there. That's going to cost him a lot of time, and Florian is gone. He's made way for Lucas Shea, but they've now got 1.1 seconds to Florian. But I'm not sure if he can disappear into the distance. I saw that both VNT cars have got more pace tonight. Car Vergezen and Rev now fighting for P11. They're still side by side. They have got about as much straight line speed as one another. And Rev for now wins the battle on track. Like I said, that 3-second time penalty is a problem. There is... whoa, Ave Gobadi, sorry. Tries to go around the inside and inside in turn 1. He's been fighting with the Alpine for lap after lap. Still hasn't found a way past, but finally the time has come for him to make the move. But it's cost him an awful lot of time. Ave Gobadi from last, now in 12th place. And not too far from his teammate anymore. Once they're together, perhaps they can pull off something towards the front of the field. Because so far, when Ave is there, TF10 have always gotten good results. And of course, Ave was unlucky with the track limits and the rain falling soon. Otherwise, he might have been tipped off for pole position. He lost out in Monaco to VNT. Came second. Las Vegas, he was the outright winner. And now, he's got another job to do. Rev is ahead, and Rev wants to claim as many points as possible. He will not yield easily. But this is a tough day either way for FRT. The day that I might have lost the championship. As Ave has a little look at the inside, just a bit too far away. Florian for a moment had the fastest lap, but Lucas Shea beats him to it. And he's closed the gap once again to under a second. So, Van Zelten has to remain sharp, has to remain on his toes. No mistakes. Nando Moreira has made a mistake. He's now also lost connection completely. He's no longer got the pace to keep up. Perhaps already burned through his tires, trying to keep up to Florian. Only Lucas Shea now can challenge the man who claimed he had no practice in Canada. And yet here he is, going off the race line to cool the tires. It is no longer, it's barely raining. And it's still quite dark. The rain is so light right now, you can barely even see it on the camera screens. There it is, a little bit. So we might see the sun a bit earlier than what Joel said. And I quote, some sun. Might be a bit more than just some. And I feel like these drivers want to make their inters last until the dry conditions are properly on. Usually, of course, the proper indicator for dry conditions is DRS being enabled. There's Paul Villegas into turn 1 against Jordan Mopti. Tried to brake as late as he could. Jordan broke a little bit later. Stays ahead for now as Ave Gobadi gets past Rev. And now he's right behind his teammate. And potentially we could see them swap around. I feel like Ave's got more pace than Mark. Mark is now stuck behind Patrick Deckmeyer. And Ave is already within half a second of Mark. Oh, once again, Paul Villegas for P4. Swoops around the outside. More traction for the Williams, and up he goes. Now he's got about 2 seconds to Nando Moreira, who himself has now got a 3.5 second gap to his own teammate. It's a two-way battle for the win at the moment. VNT versus not their rivals. Instead they're fighting TRT. Mark has no end plate. I haven't spotted that yet. And indeed he hasn't. Front right end plate missing. That shows his, that proves his, actually that explains his lack of pace. And indeed he moves out of the way, lets Ave through. Ava now up into P10 from last. Ava will probably be able to apply a lot more pressure to Patrick Dagmeyer, who's now gotten away. And he himself tries to chase down Claudio hard, but he's only been losing time. 1.4 seconds. Purple last sector for Ave. He's on a roll. But he's far away from the race leader. It's now 10 seconds, 10 and a half pretty much. There's a little much to overcome, I'd say. Let's jump on board. Normal rain. It's now dry. But there's still quite a lot of spray and it's dark. So it might take a while to dry up. Either way, this will be the only set of inters then they'll probably use. They're now just waiting for the right moment to swap. You can no longer see any wet lines on track, but you can still see the spray. That means the inters are still the best tire to go with. Perhaps if you're one of the backmarker teams, you could try something. Perhaps Benjamin, for example, who's in last place, could try on the dry tires and give his teammates some information. He's got nothing to lose. And once the tires come on, potentially Jordan could be the first to pit for a set of dries. There's no full team missing, but FRT and IRT have got one driver less than usual. And especially for FRT, that is very painful. Ricochet cooking, yep, for now though, Florian is cooking harder. It is indeed not raining anymore, as just said a lap ago, it's become dry. And the spray is disappearing as well. Redmer, it's with a 3-second time penalty. Mark Schluter, same story. That's his front wing probably causing him to go wide here and there. And there is Ave Gabadi. All over the back of Patrick Dagmeyer. Who himself is, has stabilized the gap to Claudio Diaz. And Ave will have to get past without any help of DRS. Oh, there, and ahead of them, we saw another overtake. It's Claudio Diaz coming back at Filip Navlovsky. And Navlovsky back down to 8th place. Had a strong start to the session, to the race. And now that the conditions are drying up, Claudio repasses him. Are we seeing some pit stops then? Yes, we are. Nando is taking the gamble, and so far is the only one to take the gamble. This is interesting. He sacrifices his race to potentially help out his teammates, giving him some information. And yeah, there we go. Benjamin Letourneur, it's like they've listened to me, is doing the exact same thing. He's got nothing to lose. This could be very valuable information to Jordan Mopti. Claudio Diaz has now found a lot of pace. There's still some spray coming off the cars, as you can see right here. I seriously doubt whether this is a good moment to go to the dry tires. Well, Benjamin has got nothing to lose. Nando has, especially since he's gone to the hard tires. Let's keep an eye on the gap between Anton and Nando. It's now 7.3 seconds. Especially through the corners is going to be crucial. 7.57. No. No. Those right tires are definitely not faster. He's lost about a second through turn 6 and 7 alone. It's way too early for dry, I'm afraid. Nando still losing time. Another 3 tenths, 4, 5 tenths in the next two corners, turns 8 and 9. And Lucas Shea and Florian Fantelter, of course, staying out. You can see it's starting to get a little bit more light. The sun is trying to break through. And then the dry tires really will not be far away anymore. Look at this, Claudio now all over the back of Joel Lindström. He was struggling to defend against the Williams. The Williams has refound some pace. The Inters were not Claudio's thing, but now that the conditions are mixed-ish, he's happy. He's very comfortable, it seems. And, whoa, nearly had a go there. Allowing Philip to close in once again. Nando's lost, he's now 12.6 behind Anton. A lap ago, it was 7. He's lost 5 seconds in one lap. Lucas and Florian still far away in front, especially now that Nando's moved out of the way. He's still losing a lot of time. Now he's 14.5 seconds clear from Anton. Benjamin is 16.5 seconds behind him. But for Benjamin, it doesn't matter. He's got nothing to lose. He was in last place already. And what he does now is providing useful information to Jordan Op 2, who is actually fighting for a podium. He's 1.5 seconds clear from Paul Villegas. Or away from him, I should say. Behind him, Joel and Claudio are fighting for P5. He hasn't been threatened yet by Joel. And his pace is quite impressive. Yeah, Nando's gamble wasn't a smart one, I'm afraid. They've thrown away an easy podium, and if the rest pits right now, he will be somewhere around, well, perhaps P10 even. Rev now fighting with Patrick Dagmeier. And there is Carl Vergezen on the inside, or nearly was on the inside. Is he going to go for a move here? That would have been fascinating to watch. Difficult corner to overtake him. And they are still awfully close together. There's Carl, perhaps with a dive on the inside. No, but there is Baptiste with a dive on the inside instead. Catching Carl by surprise. He loses a lot of time. Baptiste gets a terrible exit, allowing Redmerds potentially to get side by side. But Baptiste has got the slipstream from the Alpine. And now Redmerds has got the slipstream. He has to yield. Van Quali defends quite well there, or is he? He gets another bad exit. Oh, sorry, Redmerds actually gets a bad exit, apologies. And Mario Amoroso is the one to move past. And Rev trying to get back into the top 10 right there. He's happy he's not the only one driver anymore with a 3-second penalty. And now he's on equal ground with most of these, except for Patrick, who's still without. It's a tough battle right there, but they just give each other enough room to keep it respectful. Whoa, Rev off the racing line. He revs too hard. And nearly takes himself out of the race. And he's still not ahead. Patrick has got some more grip. He's got the inside line. Rev's got to use all the straight line speed he has. And he does get ahead finally. I feel like Patrick backed out there. Potentially to not get in trouble. Because in the inside in turn 8... it's a difficult position to be in. Carl now on the offensive. Same goes for Baptiste. 3 wide in the hairpin. Nearly. Baptiste saw it happen. Backed out. And Florian Van Zelter is coming in. Now he's taking the gamble. Lucas Shea with a 19.0. Fastest lap. Goes to the hards. Florian does. Is this in time then? I'm watching Anton and Nando's gap. Redmerds comes in as well. I can't watch that gap anymore, I'm afraid. Joel Lindström is now seriously getting harassed by Claudio. He wants to get past ASAP. Florian Van Zelter finds himself in P8. That gap can easily be compared to Filip Nelovsky. 2.4-ish at the moment. Right behind him, a driver on the Inters, 2.1. He's not exactly closing the gap fast, but he isn't losing much time either. So this is the crossover point. On the straights, he's faster, yep. Then through the corners here, let's see. He's gaining as well. There we go. Now is the moment to go to the dries. Florian has made a good call. And with a bit of luck, he won't be stuck behind those on the Inters. Lucas Shea, though, disagrees. He has decided to stay out for another lap. Paul Villegas, though, does come in. Same goes for a lot of other drivers. Florian has got some clear air now. Claudio Diaz stays out. Of course, his teammate has come in, so he's got no choice. Same goes for Anton Chebotarov. Everybody else swaps to the hard tires. No surprises there. But Nando Moreira, well, I'm afraid 17th might be the position he's still going to be in, or perhaps not. Perhaps he could be ahead of a few cars. It's going to be tough, but I'm afraid he's completely thrown away his race. And now Lucas Shea is about to do the same thing. He's still out there. What's going on with VNT? They had the perfect opportunity to take a 1-2 and potentially seal the championship. They've made a wrong call with Nando and potentially made a wrong call with Lucas as well. Florian is fast. He's gaining quickly now on Claudio Diaz. Everybody else is pitted except for 3 drivers, of course. 2 of them had teammates who pitted on the previous lap, but Lucas had all the space in the world to pit. And in he comes finally. Now we'll see how much damage he has caused by staying out 1 lap longer than the rest. The gap was under half a second between himself and Florian. And now that gap is going to be much, much bigger. Florian is off. Lucas is on his way. And the gap, well, I'll admit, it isn't much bigger. 2.2 seconds, 2.1. Could have been a lot worse, to be honest. I'll take back my words slightly there. They haven't completely ruined Lucas's race, and now he's got 2 lap fresher tires, which might come in handy. Lucas Shea. Now all he needs to do is close up again, and he will have DRS this time round. A lot of time penalties are getting handed out in the meantime. Let's see how those penalties stand. There you go. Oh, and Benjamin has decided to retire. He sacrificed his race to help his teammate. Jordan, though, down in P6 now. His dry race pace. Oh, Ref is out as well. Ref is out! He's crashed! He's crashed! Salvation for VNT then. And there it is. My goodness me, what happened to that car? The front right tire is on top of it. And had Lucas stayed out for another lap, he would have easily inherited the lead. Nando is saved. He can pit for fresh tires now and finish the race on much fresher tires than the rest ahead of him. But he does have a 3-second time penalty. That doesn't really help, unfortunately. The win now, most votes go to TRT, while Florian is still leading it. But the field will be backed up now. And Florian's teammate is all the way down in 15th. He does pit as well. Might be a smart move there by Carl. You will have those fresh tires to defend against the other VNT driver. So it will be VNT against TRT on both fronts, the front and the back. Oh, the pain for FRT is now complete. They have 1 driver tonight. And that 1 driver is now crashed out of the race. It's the absolute last thing they needed. And indeed, while VNT won't win it this week, I think they'll barely need any points next week to win it. And that is the end of the story for FRT. Of course, I don't know why the other drivers couldn't make it. But it is not good to see that a team fighting for the championship cannot provide 2 drivers. They haven't even been able to provide a reserve. That's got to hurt a lot. Ave Gabadi finds himself in P5 now, but he does have a 3-second time penalty as well. So a win has become a little unlikely, but he at least has made up a lot of positions from 18th and last up to P5 now. He's gained the most positions so far. Claudio Diaz isn't doing a bad job either. Same goes for Redmerts. They all started on the back of the grid. Find themselves in the top 10, all 3 of them. Nando goes for another pit stop. Swaps to a second set of mediums. So it looks like he's picked a balanced tire option. And that means he's gotta have to make these mediums last until the end of the race. I think the hards will last it. If they keep them alive long enough. Tire saving will be a thing. But Nando will have to do a lot of tire saving. But he will have the faster tires now. If he burns them up at the start, he'll suffer at the end. It also means that the safety car will stay out for another lap. Perhaps that might be another reason why he pitted. It allows Lucas to save his tires a bit longer, but it also allows Florian to save his tires a bit longer. And he's got all the tires. So the one who benefits most from this prolonged safety car is actually Florian. Lucas as well, of course, but not as much. That's the fact of the matter, I think. Jordan Mopti now finds himself in P6. A bit further away from the podium than he would have liked. His teammate has done the job. Has retired now. One driver remains out of the points. That is Nando Moreira. I doubt he'll stay there for long. 8 drivers have got a time penalty, which is half the field. One of them, I believe, is 6 seconds. The other are 3 seconds. One driver's on the medium, the rest on the hards. And they'll likely use this tire until the end of the race. And I think we'll start this race again at the end of this lap, which means 15 laps to remain. That should just be enough for the mediums to last without them popping. Which is perhaps Nando's saving grace. There we go. There we go. Confirmation. Safety car in this lap. Which means we'll soon resume. With Florian Vanzelter having led this race since the start. He lost it for a fraction of a second in the chicane. Or sorry, the hairpin. At the early stages of the race. But then he was retaining the lead quite easily. VNT really wasn't able to mount any pressure, but now DRS is going to play a big factor. Florian is weaving, heating his tires as much as he can, and off he goes through the chicane, or is he? No, he isn't, not yet. He's waiting until the last moment, and there he goes! But Lucas Shea was awfully awake. He was incredibly awake in turn 1, perhaps already for the lead of the race. But no, but instead it's Eve Gabadi who was even more awake than Joel Lindstrom. Lindstrom has the outside, but Eve Gabadi will have the inside line in turn 4 and 3. And he's passed. Good restart there. Same goes for Claudio Diaz. Overtaking Jordan Mopti for P6. Filip Nalowski in P8 now. Claudio having taken 2 positions then since the race start. Anton Chepotarov getting past his teammates. His teammate Mario now on the threat from Bastille Van Quanli. Will he find some place here on the inside? He brakes a bit later. Whoa! Yeah, that's, as I said, a tricky corner to overtake. And they've all lost a whole lot of time fighting there. That might cost them DRS. And Nando doesn't like that. He wants to get past this fighting pack of wolves as fast as he can. Otherwise, he'll be in serious trouble. He's got the fastest tire. He needs to make the most of them. Now past Baptiste Van Quali and right on the back of Carl Vergezen. Yves Gabadi now all the way over the back of Paul Vegas for a podium. Not yet. DRS now enabled. Mark Schluter with another 3-second time penalty. He's not a happy man here in Canada. Joel Lindstrom finds himself on the threat once again from Claudio Diaz. Williams can't let the RB go until he's passed. And where is he gonna go? There he go! Finally with a proper dive there on Joel Lindstrom. Joel still's got the inside line. Claudio has to give him space. They will both get DRS, but the Williams now moves ahead. And he's certain that Joel isn't going to try it here. Would be most unwise. And Joel now under threat, or he was, at least for a little while, from Jordan Mopti. Ooh, tried to get back around the outside. No space. And he's demoted to P6 now. Yves Gabadi is now closing the gap rapidly to Paul Villegas. AMR, of course, are smelling a podium here. They've got 2 drivers in the top 5. On average, they're the best team tonight. Which doesn't happen that often, so they want to defend, and Paul breaks a lot later than Ave, and Ave has got no choice but to yield. But he's got to be careful. He's got another AMR driver right behind him. And both of them haven't got a penalty. He has. So even if Ave gets past Poe, it's not a done game just yet. I think Lucas's wing damage. He has. Yep, that's a correct observation. And even despite the wing damage, he's keeping up. Keeping up and not getting past. But he's seriously putting Florian under pressure. He's got great straight line speed. Even greater now, of course, with a little less downforce. The corners, though, is where Florian is going to have to do it. And he knows it. If Florian gets past here, he might disappear for a little while. And then in Sector 2, he will claw back. But then once the DRS happens, as well, Lucas will have the upper hand. So I think it's crucial for Florian to stay ahead. There's Lucas having a little look, but he will be too far back, getting into the chicane to make the move. And behind, other drivers are keeping up the pace as well. Claudio Diaz is trying to get back at Dave Gabari in turn 1. He's still awfully close to the Mercedes. The Mercedes is completely boxed in. This is a dangerous place to be, in between two drivers for the same team. They can play some tricks on you now to force you into a mistake. Claudio is going to try absolutely everything to make sure Ave doesn't get past Poe. For example, diving into turn 6. Or faking a dive, perhaps. Nando Moreira is struggling to get past the fighting pack of wolves. Now he's side by side, has to cut the corner as he tried to get past Anton Chebatarov, or sorry, Mario Amoroso. Ooh, this is going to be a race to forget for him. Ooh, and a dive now. Mario is not happy. He wants to get back at him. And they've now lost DRS. The last thing Nando wanted was not having DRS to the rest of the cars. Because now he's in serious trouble. There is Mario Amoroso and Carl Vergezen. And perhaps Bastille as well. No. Oh, Bastille takes himself out almost. Bumps into the rear of Nando Moreira. His DRS saves him. And there goes Carl. Oh, there goes Mario. Taken out. Trying to overtake Carl Vergezen. Couldn't properly see who was at fault there. Very feisty racing though. And Carl is still there, but Mario isn't. He's now the only driver out of the points. Not a great place to be. Anyway. Back to the front of the field. Hovey, I guess, is doing an absolutely extraordinary job. Keeping Ave at bay. And keeping in sight of the victory. Lucas Shea and Florian are still well within range for him to catch. Oh, Nando. That sacrifice, that gamble for the dry tires really destroyed his race. I'm not sure who made the call. And I know I'm supposed to say objective, but it wasn't the greatest call, to be fair. And Nando is desperate to get past all of them before his tires die. But Baptiste is having none of that. He will fight back, even if it will cost him DRS. This is his debut, and he's currently fighting the championship leader. One of them, at least. So why not? He doesn't have a lot to lose. It's about an extra point for P14. And his teammate is well in the points now, with Filip Namlovsky still in tow. And potentially on his way to P7. He has got P7 in his hands right now, because Jordan has got a time penalty. But I think, while it isn't as great as a debut as OMB had, it's still a strong one. And proving that despite finishing 12th in qualifying night, AZR is quick in terms of racing. Like I said, qualifying night doesn't prove anything. It really doesn't. Because both teams joining mid-season have been quite up there. And I think AZR is definitely a team to watch out for the rest. Oh, Lucas Shea now with a proper move in turn 1. This is the moment. Even with wing damage, Florian. Oh, he bumps into the Ferrari. Trying to defend it, bumps into him again.
Some unfriendly contact, and through goes Paul Villegas, or does he? He's got the inside line against Lucas Shea, as Lucas yields, and Paul Villegas takes the lead. If you've bet on AMR for a win, you might be happy now, but it's not over yet. We're only on lap 27. Florian and Lucas are hammering at each other. They're bumping wheels again and again, blaming each other, pointing fingers. And Poe says, thank you so much. And Lucas loses even more time now, as there is Ave Gabadi. And even if the TF10 driver has got a time penalty, Lucas doesn't want him to get past. Dives very deep into the hairpin, nearly plows into the back of the Alpine. And Paul Villegas nearly escapes. He nearly got out of DRS for a moment there. Florian is angry at that. Well, he's not the only angry person now, I think. Lucas is angry as well. Ave is happy. He gets past into the podium. He'll try to get away. Lucas is drifting through the corners. That is how angry he is. He's now under threat again, this time for Claudio Diaz, and VNT drops down fast. And Claudio Diaz has got wing damage too. He's in the same boat as the Ferrari. Top 3 though, all have got whole front wings, and Florian might be in trouble for his contact with Lucas Shea. Either one of them will be in trouble. I'm not sure who is at fault there. We'll have to watch on replays by slow motion, or at least the FIA will, the stewards. I'm sure this incident will be reported. It could be crucial towards VNT's championship hopes. They've now got neither driver on the podium, which is almost unique for them. Nando is far behind because he had a bad strategy, and now Lucas is behind because he collided with Florian. Well, actually, Florian collided with him. But it's up to the FIA / the stewards to decide who gets the penalty for that. If it is a penalty at all. Could have been classified as a racing incident, I can't tell you. So far though, it's quite the race. We've now got 2 teams fighting for the win. We haven't seen fighting for the win all season. Florian wants to regain the honor of winning this race. Paul Villegas though tries to fight back. Florian went too deep, and Paul Villegas stays ahead. He retains the lead. This fighting is good news for Ave. He stays close. Claudio Diaz there wants to get past. He's got P3 in his hands. A double AMR podium might be on the cards, actually. Wow. Wouldn't that be something? With Ave having a penalty, and if Florian gets a penalty as well, then we might see an AMR 1-2. Who would have thought that at the start of the season? I mean, no offense, of course, to AMR, but they haven't been really been there in terms of the championship fight. And now suddenly they fight themselves with a golden opportunity to claim a 1-2. He gets to the inside of the track there, out of the slipstream a little bit, defending against Lucas Shea, aggressively veering to the left. And there goes Florian through. Poe lets it happen. Florian back in the race lead. Claudio Diaz really close to Ave Gabadi as well. Florian Van Zelter back in the lead of the race. 5.5 laps to go. Nando Moreira now with another time penalty. His race is over. Completely over. Mario Amoroso very far behind. Trying to get a fastest lap in, and he does. That's at least a point there. Extra for OMB. Anton in 12th. For a lot of drivers, this race is one to forget. That was my computer making an announcement about I don't know what. Everything is still fine and very smooth. Ave Gabadi now very close to the rear of Paul Villegas. Paul has to defend using that DRS. And he has to go offensive as well to stay ahead of the Mercedes. Ave is not a threat at the moment with his 3-second time penalty. And I doubt he'll be able to drive away. 3 seconds in the background. Joel Lindstrom against Lucas Shea. Will Lucas lose another position then? He doesn't.
There's some good defensive work there. Lucas stays behind. Or sorry, Joel stays behind, I should say. And Philip is potentially going to finish P7. As Jordan Mopti's got a time penalty as well. It's the bottom half of the field that because the Butters has got the majority of the time penalties. In the top 8, there's only 2 drivers with 3 seconds. Jordan Mopti in P7 and Ave Gabadi in 3rd. Claudio Diaz is properly keeping on the pressure. If he wants to get past, he has to do it soon. And then they can threaten Florian together with their rear wings open. He moves out of the slipstream there. Lucas Shea staying in 5th for now. And 4 laps to go. Florian still leads. Poe is taking it easy. He's keeping up quite well. Drifts through turn 1. We've seen Florian do it as well. I know Ace. Claudio has front wing damage. Yep. Thank you for backseat commentating. Three and a half laps remain. 4 cars, I'd say, are in for the win. If Ave hadn't got a time penalty, that is. Right now, AMR can get their dream victory. But it's still a few laps away. And then we'll know. Either way, Florian Vanzelter might be under scrutiny. And perhaps Paul knows it. And he's going to hope extra hard for that penalty, of course. So he'll certainly be on VNT's side. If they report the incident. Which I think they will. It's a race to forget either way for VNT. Where they could have grabbed a 1-2. And pretty much sealing the championship. They are now struggling. They're struggling in the race, where they could have taken it all. Ooh, see that? Look, for example, there, Nino Moreira. Oh, man. Those tires are pretty much dead. It's a miracle they haven't popped yet, looks like. Yep, that's Nando done for. Falling back hard now. Look at that. I think there's a puncture coming up now. And Nando's race is effectively over. He will score a point, but he might want to pit now and go for the fastest lap to score an extra point. Those are crucial things to do. He can't catch up. Mario is 22 seconds behind. I think that's enough. I'm not sure how long a pit stop takes here in Canada, from the top of my head. Oh, and there you go. I think that's a puncture. It is a puncture. Nando Moreira. Oh, man. Well, you think it couldn't get worse. It just did. An absolute nightmare for VNT. One driver's got a damaged front wing. And in P5. The other one in P15. And a blown up tire. Despite that, though, he carries on at speed. He will still try to get the fastest lap. And still claim a point. I think it's better than retiring now. Even if he finishes P16. A point is a point. And it could be a crucial one. Either way, on the last 2 laps now, Florian still leads from Paul Vegas, and Nando, unsurprisingly, puts under the soft tires. Florian has to defend a little bit more from Paul Vegas, but once again, he might be under threat from a penalty. Florian is. Oh, he locks up. He locks up, goes deep into the hairpin, nearly allowing Poe to get past. 4/10 of a gap now. On the back straight. Or on, well, not really the back straight, is it? It's just the second main straight, so to say. And Poe is starting to pressurize Vanzelter for the win. There we go, final lap. This is all or nothing. AMR can get a win, either on track or off track. Depending on course, of course, how the penalties will go, as Mark Schrutter gets past Filip Nalowski. Filip is dropping back hard now. His P7 debut potential is gone. He's got a time penalty himself now. Theoretically, indeed, AMR might get a 1-2. When is Poe going to try and pass? He's forcing Florian into a mistake. And if he can't, he's got to stay as close as possible. You saw that 0.4 of a second is not enough on the straight coming up now. He needs to stay in range. He bumps into Florian. That's not good. Broke too late, and there is Ave as well. Florian was pushed a little bit wide. He will say that Poe did push him. Push to pass potential, but there he goes. Florian the inside. He can't find a way past. Poe's having to weave. Florian defends everywhere. He goes off the track. Nearly slams the rival into the wall. But there we go. Paul Villegas is going to take the victory. Or is he? He is. And Claudio Diaz finishes in second place with Florian getting a late 3-second time penalty. AMR have gotten their wish. A 1-2 for the team has happened. Yes, Ave Gobadi went across the line first, but he already had the 3-second time penalty, and Florian gained the 3-second time penalty in the chicane. The Florian's defense was interesting to say the least. Poe had to weave hard to find a way past because Florian went left and then right and then left, or vice versa. It was quite nasty there, but this is your top 3 for now. It's anything but certain that it remains like this. I'm not sure if Paul will be investigated for that. I feel like Florian will report it, or vice versa. And whoever is at fault will find their penalty, but that means with Claudio would win the race. Either way, I think AMR have got a victory in the back. But a 1-2 remains a little bit of a question mark. And of course, the question is, who is at fault there for the incident? AMR or TRT? Poe or Florian? Neither was very clean, let's be fair. And Florian will probably have another report against him with the incident to Lucas Shea. This is, though, the results as they stand, with 2 retirements of Rev and Benjamin Letourneur. Well then, looks like even AZR is pointing the finger at AMR. Well, I'm not sure if that is fair. Well, who am I to judge? I'm not a steward, thankfully. They always get a lot of flack for whatever decision they make. Got a lot of respect for them. Let's see if they're still in for an interview. It's gotten a little bit nasty in the chat. Who got third now? Lucas did, didn't he? I've already forgotten. There's so much going on in Discord. Right, you know what? Looking at the Discord, I'm not sure if interviews are a smart thing to do. Yeah, I'll keep it at this. Show you the calendar one more time. Tell you that Great Britain is up next. Also tell you that VNT haven't taken the big step forward they wanted to make. They could have finished the 1-2. It didn't happen. FRT will be slightly delighted with that one, but they still lost a lot of points against VNT either way. And that's it, really. Australia rounds of the season. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. We'll see you next week. Same place, same time. Until then, goodbye.